Disney's villains are part of an iconic tradition for the studio stretching back several decades, but they aren't all as straightforward as they appear to be. Many of Disney's most iconic villains are embodiments of pure evil and selfishness, like Ursula in The Little Mermaid and Cruella de Vil in 101 Dalmatians, but they are just as many villains who turn out to be good. Not all Disney movies are so morally simplistic, and some great villains have simply been misunderstood, or they have had a change of heart, which proves that people are capable of self-improvement. Morally complex villains add more depth to their movies, and they also make for more relatable and interesting characters. Disney often uses its reputation for loathsome villains against the audience, subverting expectations to show that not everyone is as bad as they seem.
Well, number 10 Disney redeemed villain was Tay Ka from my movie. My quest to return the heart of Tay Fiti leads her to Tay Ka, the volcanic demon whose dark influence is destroying her island and wreaking havoc on the ocean. Not much is initially known about Tay Ka, but I know that the demon appeared when Maui stole Tay Fiti's heart in an attempt to gift the power of creation to the humans, but this plan backfired spectacularly, and Tay Fiti vanished. Well, I've discovered that Tay Ka and Tay Fiti are one and the same. Tay Fiti transformed into Tay Ka when Maui stole the heart. This means that Tay Ka's violent chaos wasn't just meaningless. It was a blend of self-preservation and righteous vengeance. As soon as I've returned the heart, Tay Fiti regains her normal appearance and heals the ocean and the islands. Not much is known about the upcoming Moana sequel, but Tay Fiti's story seems to be neatly tied up.
Number 9, Mirage from The Incredibles. Before Syndrome enters the picture and reveals himself as the true villain of The Incredibles, Mirage is the one who contacts Mr. Incredible and offers him the job of taking down the Omni-droid on No Manus Island. She acts as Syndrome's assistant, which suggests that she also lured the dozens of other superheroes to No Manus who eventually met their doom at the hands of the Omni-droid. Despite her support of Syndrome early on, Mirage soon sees the error of her ways. She realizes that Syndrome doesn't care for her at all, and he doesn't flinch when Mr. Incredible captures her and threatens to crush her unless he is released. Syndrome may be Pixar's most evil villain, but Mirage manages to redeem herself, first by releasing Mr. Incredible and then by helping him and the rest of his family to escape the island. Number 8, Iago from Aladdin. Iago is Jafar's sidekick in Aladdin, but he has just as much hatred and greed within him. Played by Gilbert Gottfried with plenty of his trademark yelling, Iago is a ball of rage who perches on Jafar's shoulder like the devil, but there is no angel on the other side. While Jafar wants to seize power for himself, Iago's motivations are usually more personal and petty. He despises the Sultan's moldy crackers, and he wants revenge, although he seems irredeemable, and he gets just what he deserves at the end of Aladdin. Iago does undergo a change of character in the direct-to-video sequel, The Return of Aladdin. Iago and Jafar have a falling out as he escapes from the Cave of Wonders, and the parrot soon flies to the royal palace to try and get on Aladdin's good side. It's little more than a selfish ploy at first, but Iago does change, and he even sacrifices himself in the final battle with Jafar.
Number 7, Anton Ego from Ratatouille. Anton Ego is the most influential food critic in Paris, but he's also seen as the supreme arbiter of fine dining in the city. A review from him can make or break a restaurant, and the staff at Gusteau's know it. His fearsome reputation doesn't necessarily make him a villain, but he shows a willingness to abuse the power that he wields. He makes sure that Linguini knows he can expect a bad review, suggesting that he is an elitist snob who wants to tread on Linguini's fairy tale rise to the top. Anton Ego ultimately proves that he isn't such a villain after all. After tasting the ratatouille prepared by Remy, he is transported back to his childhood, and he rediscovers the love of food that first inspired him to pursue a career as a critic. This is a humbling experience for Ego, who stays to pay his compliments to the chef. He eventually comes round to Gusteau's idea that anyone can cook.
Number 6, Amos Slade from The Fox and the Hound. Amos Slade is the hunter in the Fox and the Hound who owns Copper, and he trains him to hunt foxes despite his friendship with Todd. In any other story, Amos wouldn't be considered a villain at all, but Disney's habit of humanizing its animal characters means that he's not just a hunter, he's a tyrant who wants to tear apart two childhood best friends. Like the hunter from Bambi, he finds himself in a villain's role, even though his actions would likely be deemed acceptable by normal standards. Ultimately, Amos shows some compassion for Todd after a confrontation with a bear. He spares the fox's life as an acknowledgement that he saved him from the bear. Amos even patches things up with his neighbor, Widow Tweety. It's unclear if this event inspires him to change his ways, but he no longer seems a cruel and cold-hearted owner who Copper has to escape from.
Number 5, Emit Otterton from Zootopia. Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde only ever team up in the first place so that they can track down Emit Otterton. His wife goes to the police station to report his disappearance, but he soon turns from a potential victim to a potential criminal. All the clues point to Emit being involved in some shady business, as he is traced to the limousine of Mr. Big, Zootopia's most notorious crime boss. The truth is even more disturbing, as Emit attacked the driver with feral rage. Emit isn't the only carnivore who turns savage, but he isn't really a villain in the end. Emit and the rest of the savage predators fall victim to night howlers, a psychotropic drug which causes extreme aggression. The real villain is much more surprising. Emit eventually returns to his mild-mannered self, and it's unlikely that he'll make an appearance in Disney's Zootopia sequel, coming in late 2025.
Number 4. James Norrington from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Commander James Norrington is the antagonist of the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, but he gradually develops into a more complex character than he first appears to be. By the end of The Curse of the Black Pearl, he has accepted that he will never be the man for Elizabeth Swann, and he even gives Jack Sparrow a sporting head start before once again pursuing him for his crimes of piracy. This is just the beginning of his redemption.
Ash is right. Dead Man's Chest continues James Norrington's redemption by introducing Lord Cutler Beckett, whose obsessive hatred of pirates makes Norrington look far more sympathetic by comparison. Norrington suddenly finds himself on the same side of the law as Jack Sparrow and his associates. In At World's End, he completes his redemption arc and gets the hero's ending he deserves, as he sacrifices his own life to keep Elizabeth Swann and her crew safe.
Well, my pick for number 3 was Namari from my own movie called Raya and the Last Dragon. Well, if you're probably wondering, I'm the princess of the Heart tribe, and this makes me automatically wary of Namari from the Fong tribe. And it's true. Our relationship is representative of the distrust that runs throughout Commandra, even though we looked like we could be friends when they first met as children. Namari is more concerned with expanding the influence of the Fong tribe than she is with defeating the Droon, but this soon changes. Me and Namari realize that our conflict is causing more damage than either of them are prepared for. But, on the bright side, after Sisu is caught in the crossfire and the Droon begin to unleash chaos, they agree to reconcile their differences and work together to restore the Dargan Gem. I trust Namari enough to give her the final piece of the gem, even though I know she is doomed, which underlines how Namari's character completely changes her way of thinking.
Yeah, I agree with Raya. Wow! I have finally becoming an reformed Disney character.
Number 2. Bruce from Finding Nemo. Based on his appearance, the great white shark Bruce looks like he'll be a terrifying villain for Marlin and Dory to face, but he turns out to have a heart of gold. He may have a little fun toying with the duo when he first meets them, but he shows them that he's sort of a reformed killer, as he leads a meeting of fish-friendly sharks who repeat their motto, "Fish are friends, not food." Bruce takes a brief turn toward true villainy when he smells blood in the water and his hunting instincts kick in. He sheds his cool demeanor and chases after Marlin and Dory, but it's hard to blame him for his own natural behavior as an apex predator, especially when he's trying his best to curb these instincts. He reappears at the end of Finding Nemo as another happy inhabitant of the reef, showing that he is back on the right path.
And now, our first top pick from Top 10 Reformed Disney Villains is the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is one of Disney's great redemption stories. Many Disney classics have clear heroes and villains, but Beauty and the Beast is more morally complex, suggesting instead that evil is more a product of an individual's environment than an inherent characteristic. The Beast is cursed with the appearance of a hulking monster, so he retreats into isolation where he is safe from the judgment of society.
Beauty and the Beast's tragic backstory reveals that the Beast isn't really as beastly as he first appears. Although he does kidnap Belle's father, Maurice, and he trades him for Belle, the Beast only does so to protect his way of living. He doesn't want to set the precedent that people can get too close to his castle, but this is a fearful reaction, rather than a truly evil one. Eventually, the Beast's relationship with Belle returns him to his true form.
That's all, folks, and this will understand everybody about those Disney reformed villains.
Blood Patch Eye's right. We are going to end this video right straight away.